Just the middle one. No.
Oh.
Well, it was right.
Well, we're live now, hun.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's all right.
But you just had to press there.
Oh.
That's what live's all about.
Oh, I did press it, but it didn't work for me.
That's what we're live.
Mm.
That's what happens when we're live. Things just happen, don't they?
I know, they do.
Okay, Jay, so we're back on again. So good to see everybody. Thank you so much for jumping onto our Get Healthy and Happy Monday night evening call that we pop on. And we're really excited to see you. So thank you so much for being on. We're bringing this call to you weekly so that we can bring you insight and tools and inspiration that you need to live a life that you love to live.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you can, get through your life day to day.
Exactly.
Because we know that we all face tough days.
We do.
We all do. And we hear quite frequently there's a hashtag living your best life. And I think, it's great to say that. But I think that living our best life is a really tall order.
It is.
And there's a lot of things that we've got to work through to be able to get the best out of life that we can. So we're here tonight to talk about what energy you put out and what's been happening in your day.
And energy, yes. Energy is a big thing, isn't it? Because sometimes it can go up and down.
Yeah.
And we really do want to present our energy in a good way so that we can then give it to the rest of everyone else as well.
Yes, we do. And so where are you coming in from? Where are you in the world? Thank you again for being on our social media platforms. It's awesome to have you. And if we don't say hello or comment to you straight away, we've got 3 different platforms that are going, so we might not be able to just 4 actually, just keep up to them. So we're talking about energy tonight, and it's just not that kind of like weirdo kind of energy like sometimes people talk about. We're talking about like what energy that you do put out into the world. Like, how do you come across to people? Do you just walk around with your head down all day long? Do you smile at someone, say hello? It's quite funny because we live on a really beautiful part of the Gold Coast, and when we walk along the Broadwater, sometimes, well, I always say hi to people, but sometimes people are quite taken back by when you say hello to them. They
are. They look at you weirdly. You smile at someone, or they think, who's that weirdo? Yeah.
Well, I don't know about weirdo, but so I think that we always say, your attitude is everything in life. And so, we have to be really careful as to what we put out there. And, making, I think a really good tip that I've got is that we never know what people are going through in life. And if we can bring some kind of joy or happiness or put a smile out there, then it could be enough just to make somebody's day, So definitely. I think that's really important. So people say, I'm just happy, or it just happens to be that way. Would you agree with that, Jace?
No, I don't think so.
What do you reckon?
I think you have to think about how you're going to show up, or how you're going to present yourself when you're going somewhere. I mean, if you've had an argument with your spouse or your partner, sometimes it's hard to show up to a place or do something with a smile on your face. Yeah.
Exactly. And so when you think about your energy, hey going Karen, hey going Belinda, is that so we have thoughts, and we have, our lives have been conditioned to, we've been, how we might have been raised. And, like my family, my mum's always, the glass is so full, and she's always, got a smile on her face, and she's always happy. So no matter what adversity or adversary, what's the word? No matter what problem she faces in her life, she always has her smile on her face, and no one will ever know what she's going through. And to me, that takes like real strength, and it takes a lot of courage to be like that. And, I even think even when my brother went through a major accident and had a brain injury, my mum still had a smile on her face and still continued to, just show up to people and never make anybody else feel like it was their problem.
Yeah.
And I think that's just such a courageous thing for someone to do. So people, when they're mean to you, or they say hurtful things, or they're rude, they're just not being thoughtful at all, are they? No. They're not putting out great energy.
No.
And it's really hard sometimes to sort of be around that. And I find that my battle with depression is that I try, it's such an intention when I go out into the world to give off as much positivity as I can, that when people, are rude to you back, it really fully affects me. Yeah. Not just the norm, I don't think.
No, and that's why we've got to also knock that negative energy back back out because we don't want to allow that into our minds.
Hey, go on, Sue. Yes, absolutely. So, family sees our energy. People out in the, outside of our house see our energy. Our workmates, our colleagues. If we're working with a team, they see our energy as well. So it's really important to be able to, have an intention as to, how we're thinking and what we're feeling and what we're putting out there. So we need to make sure that the energy that we're putting out there is, is good. I think, I mean, the world is tough enough as it is, let alone having people that, don't have a good, energy to put out there.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Oh, definitely. We need to. If you hang around more people that are more happy, you feel happy.
Yeah.
If you hang around people that are always negative, you're going to feel negative.
Yeah. And I think if you work really hard, because it does take hard work, well, it does, I know I have to work on sometimes how I'm feeling, but I know that if I put my best foot forward and I'm intentional about what I'm doing, then it makes it super important that we do that. So giving energy to people around you, I think, is important. And, I know that, when you walk into a room, sometimes you might be the only person that's kind of put a smile, that walks in with a big smile on your face, and people kind of just stare at you and like, what's wrong with her? And that's kind of weird. It's a bit odd because you do notice it. But, when people loosen up a bit, I guess that energy sort of starts to come out. So we need to take responsibility for our energy and, what we do give out in our life. So how do we actually do that, Jason? So we talk about health, fitness, business. How do we, make sure that the energy that we put out there is, is good?
How?
Yeah. How do you do it? Like, what do you do today? Like, what do you start off with?
Well, my first thing, as most of you probably know, is I hit the gym.
Yeah.
Because straight up, as soon as I get there and I get those endorphins happening in my mind, I walk out of there with a big smile on my face.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I walk in there with a smile on my face. People generally think, what have you been doing before you got there? But more so, my energy levels spike up even higher after a good workout.
Absolutely. And I think relationship wise, you're not always high vibing around your house and, your energy is amazing. I mean, you've got to work on that.
We have some grumpy times.
Yeah, we've had a few more grumpier times lately. I mean, because we're tired, life, you live your best life, but that's a tall order, like we just said. So, you've got to keep on replenishing yourself. So I think definitely scheduling in some exercise, whether that be the morning or whether it be the afternoon. And I think that you've got to work out that you don't have to be strict on what time it is.
Yeah.
Schedules or things change around. So you've got to be, a little bit flexible. What I've worked out over the last couple of weeks is that if I can't get to the gym, then I definitely try to do something in my own home. And Les Mills has actually got out, I don't get any payment for this, although I might put it to them, but an app which is called Les Mills On Demand. I think it's $20 a month, so it works out $5 a week. And you can do any class that you want to do, from pump to grit to Pilates to yoga to cycle classes, sprint, RPM, all of that for $20. And I think that's just an absolute bargain. So it's cheaper than going to a gym or having a membership. And, if you can't afford to do that, then, surely, $5 a week is something that, we could definitely work on doing and scheduling that around to, work out what suits us. So being in alignment with ourselves is really important to give out good energy. So I think if you're not aligned with who you are, then it's really hard. I mean, you can't be someone who you're not.
No, you can't.
No.
Because that can only last for so long, and then eventually
true colours come out.
True colours come out.
Yeah. The lights get bright and the cracks start to show. So we need to definitely be in alignment with who we are. So, I guess, if I was to say be in alignment with who you are, sometimes, like I said, our being raised and, things that we've experienced in our life, we might go, yeah, but I don't feel like being happy today. It's still an energy that we do put out there with people. So, how do we go about lifting that up?
Well, I just remember a thought or a saying that you actually use more muscles in your face to frown and less muscles in your face when you use to smile.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So you're better off to smile.
There's less energy in actually smiling than there is walking around with a frown on your face.
Yeah. And I know when you do smile, you definitely feel better about that, don't you?
There's a good test if you right now, for whatever reason, no matter what mood you're in now, is start laughing.
Okay, you do that. That would be funny if we could do what happens with that, but that is totally true. And like, I mean, it's like if I've got a phone call or something, I've got to be on, I do like 10 star jumps or do, get a bit of exercise and get the serotonin going in my brain, and I put a smile on my face when I make that call, and it definitely shows, even though they're not seeing your face down that phone line, that that energy that you're putting out is what you have portrayed on the other end of that line. So I think it's really important. So the next thing is joy. We all want to be joyful, or we all want to find joy. And I hear like something quite frequently. It's actually stuck with me for many years. We went to a public talk or a training, and they said that I'll be happy when I win the lottery. I'll be happy when I got $1 million. I'll be happy when I get the house.
Lose 10 kilos,
whatever it might be. So are we going to be happy when that happens? And it's totally not true at all.
No.
Sometimes, I think the simplest things in life are always the best. And, sometimes we're waiting for that new car or that bigger house to be like the Joneses, and it just keeps on putting more pressure and, all that overload on top of us. So we need to make sure that we find joy within ourselves, or find things that bring us joy. And, by now we're all adults here on these, on our social media platforms. So, do we know what is bringing us joy? And if we don't, we need to just maybe dig a little bit deeper and work out what it is. So, Chase, I want to ask you, what are a couple of things that you find that make you feel joyful, make you feel happy, that you do day to day or during the week, or what's a couple of things that stand out?
First of all, going to gym. I love doing that.
Yep.
Just conversing with people, getting to work too, talking to my customers in my business.
Yep.
That brings me joy. And then coming home to you.
Oh, sure. Oh, thank you. Does it?
It does, yeah.
Does it? What about if I'm grumpy though?
I still come home feeling joyful.
Oh, you're so good. Jason's more of an extrovert. I'm more of an introvert. So isn't that interesting? So my things, I'll just tell you a couple of how I feel, is, let me just fix up my phone there. Okay, so some of the things that make me feel joyful are going to the gym. I really do enjoy doing that. I even enjoy doing it at home by myself. I like to be at home and going for a walk with my dog. I like to spend time by myself. And, of course, I love our time that we spend together as well. So my joy comes from being quite, what would you say? Like just in a very small niche of people or things. So I'm more of an introvert, and an introvert needs to make sure that they plug in at home, recharge their battery so they can go out into the world and, give again. So a lot of people think I'm an extrovert, but I am totally the opposite. I'm an introvert, surprisingly.
Actually, a lot of motivational speakers are introverts because they give so much energy when they're in front of a crowd and they go for it. And then when they get out of that crowd, they actually need to recover and get their energy back again because they've just used it all out there.
Yeah, and that's
which is not a bad or wrong thing. It doesn't matter whether you're an introvert or an extrovert.
No,
one or the other isn't bad or good.
I just think when you said that, isn't that interesting? Because people naturally assume, like, they say I'm, hey, go on, Gaynor. Hey, Jules. I am a extrovert, which means that she'll be right, she's always happy, she's always that, I don't necessarily have to make an extra effort to sort of maybe be nice, or I'll just be who I normally am. And that's kind of interesting because I've just got written here that some people struggle with negative self-talk, and I know that for a fact because I do that. So I try that extra bit harder to make sure somebody else is feeling better, or that I make them feel a bit more secure about themselves. So you're giving of that energy all the time, and so you really need to retreat and to be able to build that energy back up. Yep. So and I think being a positive person in people's lives is a really good thing.
Yeah.
But again, you need to work out what it is that needs to get you where you get your energy from. So Jace, you talked about yours and I've talked about mine. I do love a lychee martini as well.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting on anywhere, it doesn't matter where it is, but with a water view, and that also makes me feel really joyful as well. So I think what's interesting in saying that, we didn't talk about money, we didn't talk about cars or boats or houses. And I think in society that there's so much emphasis put on, especially now with social media and we've got Instagram and Facebook and all those things, that we're so busy comparing ourselves to Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones that we're really getting a bit tracked or a lot sidetracked, and we're feeling inadequate or not good enough.
And that's energy zappers.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. Oh, we're learning a lot tonight, eh?
Yeah.
So how do we empower ourselves? So we can empower ourselves in the morning by doing a bit of meditation. Tony Robbins has got a great meditation, short one, about 6.5 minutes on YouTube. So you can just, search for him. Exercising, connecting with family, connecting with a team, all of that can, empower us in the morning. So making sure that, we do get some good feels. It could be even, that you grab your favorite cup of tea, mug, and have your cup of tea in that. Like that could be enough to give you a little bit of energy in the morning to make you feel good when you walk out the front door.
Yep.
I have my fizz stick in the morning in a cup that my mum gave me that says, love what you do, or what's the other one says, love. And then I've got another one that I absolutely love. It's just the color of it. And that makes me feel good.
There you go. So an object of some sort gives you, has a meaning to you that which triggers off something in your brain.
Exactly. So what pumps you up with energy? You've got to work out what that is. And you've got to, do more during the day that makes you feel like that. So, we've mentioned a couple of those little things. And the more energy that you get, the more that you can give out during the day.
Yeah.
If you don't give yourself anything, then you've got nothing to give back.
Yeah. And this applies too when we're, I don't know whether you get into it or not, but the business side of things, like if you're running your own business or you're an employee or employer, you want to be able to show up with energy, because you can work at your job, but that doesn't get you anywhere. But if you work on yourself, then you'll become more richer and more fulfilled in your own accomplishments.
Yeah. And I heard I don't know whether I mentioned it last week, but it was during last week. I don't think it would have been, but Tony Robbins, I was listening to something from him and I just happened to go onto it because I was listening to something on YouTube. And, he was talking about people think that they're going to have an extraordinary life when they win the lottery. And he said, that is just far from the truth. Like, I look at him and I think he's still out there teaching and giving energy or, making, people feel good about themselves. And so he needs to replenish that. But it's not all about the money, and he said that, to feel good about yourself is that you need to grow and do personal development. So I thought that was super interesting. So it's not about what we have, material wise, that's going to give us, the joy that we want or the energy that we need in our lives.
Because there's plenty of multi-millionaires and billionaires that are unhappy, truly unhappy.
Who were we shocked about when we saw not long ago? James Packer.
Yeah, James Packer.
Yeah.
Didn't look very well at all.
No. And, we know, we can talk about that. I mean, it's fairly common knowledge. We don't know him personally. But, no opinions on James Packer. But I just think, we know that he's had a pretty tough life. We might go, he's got all the money in the world, but all the money in the world is not got rid of or helped him with his mental illness, and that's just really sad that nothing can help in terms of money to help someone through with mental illness. So, it really does come down to like really self-care. So this brings me into the next point that I want to talk about, which is, talking about health. Do you need to go to a doctor or need to just go, and search, as to why you might be struggling emotionally, mentally, or physically? Do you need to go and get that checked out? And I think it's really interesting because quite often, like I haven't had good health my whole life since I was about 11. And, whether it be that I've got to go and get my iron tested, my vitamin B, my vitamin Ds, all those kind of things just to make sure that your health is, maybe if it's not where it is, then you need to, go and check on that. Whereas, Jace, you have a better quality of health than what I do.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Heaps better.
Food-wise, things don't affect me. Like I was talking to my personal trainer the other day, and food really affects him. So he's really pretty strict on what he eats, because if he eats something wrong, it really gets him down. And I know that does the same with you. If you've had a bad week or something, you've eaten something that you shouldn't have, then it really affects how you feel and how you think.
Yeah.
Whereas, if I'm trying to eat pretty good during the week and I decide to go and get myself a donut, I don't lose sleep.
Not a whole packet of donuts.
I don't lose sleep over. I'll go, I wish I didn't do that. But I just get up the next morning and carry on. So, so different people with different and
I think that's the beauty of, if finding someone who can help you to have, better energy as well, or that you can bounce each other. You might have a girl at the gym that you can talk about things with. You might have a girlfriend that you walk along the, go for a walk with, or, just someone that you can sort of have a bit of balance, with each other, talking about different subjects. I think that's pretty cool as well. So what I was going to say to you was, like if you do lack clarity, you've got a bit of brain fog, or you lack energy, you might have depression, anxiety, different things that you might be struggling with. It might come down to some of the health or some of the food choices that you might be making. So, we absolutely love what we do. So we do a 30 Days to Healthy Living program, which we know that helps, so many of our clients to be able to get rid of this brain fog. And also, weight loss is just, like a byproduct of that. But, like it's not always people looking for weight loss. Like I don't think necessarily I'm always want to lose weight. But, mine now in my life at my age is more about health. It's definitely about getting rid of that brain fog, having more brain clarity, and also having more energy, and that's super important. And I think in this day and age that we're living, like we were just saying, it's great to say live your best life, but that's a tall order. And we need to find ways that we can build that energy up. And if you need to have a supplement, like I have my Fizz Stick, a fizzy tea every morning, which has got my vitamin B's, it's got my green tea extract, it's got my green coffee bean, and that makes me feel good. That brings me joy and gives me good energy. Not just, internally, but externally, especially, when I'm teaching classes or, going to the gym as well. So, like definitely take your health seriously. Yeah. And if you do feel like you've got things that you don't feel that are quite right, then go and get them checked out. So love that. Thanks, Mark. Thumbs up. Thank you so much. Okay. So let's talk about self-care. So this is the last little topic that we're going to go into tonight. And I think this is really important because I know that so many people, hey, go on, Jack, and Layla, if you're on, Kimmy. So self-care, so many of us lack self-care. And I just want to say to you, last week we had a 4-month-old baby and a 20-month-old baby. So 20-month-old. She wasn't old at all. She was 20 months young. So we had 2 children. And what I realized because she's so busy running after the children, or, and it's not a matter of, I'm just going to keep running after the children. It is, you have no choice, and I have to say that these 2 children kept me on my toes more than I thought. But, it's really interesting to see how we can let ourselves go from just even having a shower to, like putting on a little bit of makeup, getting dressed, putting on some clean undies. I know that sounds ridiculous, but, when you get up and that baby's ready to be fed and, changed and whatever's going on, and they're upset or, life just, takes over. So self-care. So I just wanted to say to you that, and this is not always possible, but we need to be getting how many hours a day?
At least 7.
At least 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep per day to be able to function at a normal basis. And I think so many of us, and I'll say me, but I really am so careful not to do it. And I haven't done it for a long time, but social media, taking our phones to bed and, like just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So we need to be so careful with that. So that's self-care. So 7.5 to 8 hours a day. We know that between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. in the morning is when our bodies are repairing themselves.
Okay.
When our brains are repairing themselves. So, it's key that we need to make sure that we're getting that sleep. And if we're not getting enough sleep, then it becomes a challenge for us in life.
It does. And it's so important as you talk about self-care. I mean, I know if anyone's traveling on an aeroplane, when they talk about if an airplane's going to go down or there's some situation and the oxygen masks drop from the sky, they actually tell you to put the mask on first before you put your mask on the child. Now, as a parent, your first natural instinct is to get that oxygen on that child. But you're going to be no good to that child if you don't have oxygen yourself. So self-care is so important that we need to be able to, or try and manage it as best you can so that you can be on your A game for your family.
Yeah, totally. And again, like you said, self-care, so that means sleep. And I'm just going to say sleep, sleep, sleep. So if you don't have sleep, then you've got no energy, you're cranky, and you're less tolerable, and you just can't give out any good energy during the day. So it's super important to do that. Jace, I just heard, I was going to say, you've got an alarm, and I used to laugh at you, but it's like, Big Dog says it's time to go to bed at nighttime. So it's not an alarm to wake him up in the morning, yet he does have that. But you have an alarm. Is there any kind of app or anything special that you use for that?
No, it's just on the phone itself. Time to go to bed.
And you put it about 8:30, is it?
Yeah.
About 8:30.
About 8:30, 9 o'clock, half an hour before I go.
And what does it say?
It doesn't say anything. It just a little message just comes up on my phone and
Yeah.
says you have 20 minutes before bedtime.
Yeah, and it's like Big Dog. It's like that kind of time.
There should be a voice on it. It should say
yeah.
that. Jason, time
Yeah.
to get yourself ready
But
for
it's
bed.
kind of good because it gives me a bit of a reminder, and I check the time and that. So have a look at when you're eating, what times you're doing things, can you change a few little things around your schedule just, to shift what's going on. Guys, we want to say thank you so much for hopping onto our platforms just while you're there. And if you're hopping on and off, we're also so appreciative of you being there as well. So it's really important to have movement. So we talked about that, to do exercise during the day. So we're just talking about how you can get your energy level ups during the day. So making sure you've got enough sleep, making sure you're moving. So it might be that you need to take a walk during the week or during the day, get out and do your lunch break. Like I watched some girls along the Broadwater. There's a couple, they just wear the shoes that they wear to work, but they're walking along the Broadwater, and I just think it's so good that they're out there. They don't need to lose weight. It's not for weight loss, I'm sure. It's just to keep fit. So, it's just nice to be able to get out there and do something. So don't sit still. Don't stay stagnant. Remember, if you're stagnant, then you're kind of not growing or you're not alive. Like you need to keep on feeding yourself, especially as we get older.
And even too, that's even for tradesmen.
Yeah.
Whether, you think you're at work and you've been working hard all day, that you don't need to do any other kind of physical activity. Definitely need to do some kind of, whether it's just going for a quick brisk walk or afternoon
punching bag,
some
weights, whatever it might be.
Definitely helps.
Making sure our nutrition's on par. So we need to, make sure we've got our greens, our veggies. We've got salmon and we've got veggies tonight. Really, if you have a little bit of a, blowout over the weekend, get back on track on Monday, get out exercising on a Monday, make that a non-negotiable. I mean, we talk about that all the time. Yeah. Every Monday we talk about Mondays, a non-negotiable. We know what our routine is there. So, and the other thing is I just want to make mention of, social activities. So when you are out, what is draining you of your energy, and what is it that you can get back and get some more energy into your body as well. So if you're an introvert, work out what that is. If you're an extrovert, work out what that is. It's really important because you're either one or the other.
Yeah.
And don't prejudge someone and think, oh, she's totally an extrovert because she talks a lot. That's not true.
No,
like Jay said, a lot of people that are motivational speakers, comedians, a lot of people that put themselves out there in the public quite often are introverts, because after they've, gone back home, they retreat and they plug in, and it could be for days, so they build up their energy again. So I'll need to plug in after tonight and build some energy.
There you go, Neil.
And the other thing is, we need to make sure that we work out what works for us. So our rhythm that's going on for us during the day, what makes you feel empowered in the morning. Take better care of yourself to be disciplined about where your energy comes from and where it's going to. Bring joy, get joy, find joy. Don't think it has to be material things. It's the simple things in life that will bring you that joy. If you need supplements, get some supplements or go and see a doctor and make sure that you get your health checked out.
Or message us.
Or message us. We'll be more than happy to help you. And also self-care, so making sure that you're getting enough sleep and you're looking after yourself. And the other thing is doing meditation.
Yep.
So, I used to think that was a bit of airy-fairy jargon. But now I realize that definitely, doing some kind of movement or doing some self-meditation. Like I said, Tony Robbins has got a great 6.5-minute one that you can go onto YouTube and follow. He'll give you the exact formula to follow. And it's really simple and easy to do as well. So, that tonight, Jace, that kind of wraps us up for talking about energy. We hope that we've passed on something to you and that you have learned something, or you can take it away and say, okay, I'm going to change that in my life and really, focus on something that could be something that you need to give yourself a little bit of a change and, work on whatever it might be. So,
And as always, please share our little conversation tonight with 3 people.
Amazing conversation.
And and please give us some more comments, send us private messages, whatever you whatever
guys,
you think.
keep the messages coming. Like we
really do love it.
We're really, really grateful of anything that you guys send through to us. And again, if there's any topics or anything that you want us to talk about, whether it be public or in private with you, I'm more than happy to talk to you about depression, medication, exercise, fitness, our business, what we do, as our side hustle, that really is our main hustle. we're really more than happy to talk to you about that as well. And if you're looking for something a little bit different, or you know someone who might not have a job anymore, or that's just looking for a way out, then definitely reach out to us and have a chat, grab a coffee, and you just never know, like it was
we
with
love
us.
educating people on what we do.
Yeah,
because it's fun.
Yeah.
It really is.
Looks like fun, Jase.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, guys, have an awesome night, and thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you enjoyed this Get Healthy and Happy experience with us tonight. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Night.